A very good evening to each and everyone present over here. I, Sriparna Bhattacharya, on behalf of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Institute of Management Science, Kolkata, delightedly welcome to all of you in this workshop in Qualitative Research, Fundamentals and Applications. Now, I would like to request to participate, all of you, in the lighting the lamp for today's evening. Now, I would like to request, introduce our organizer, chief guest for today's evening, and our resource person. Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Institute of Management Science, Kolkata in India was started in 2000 under the aegis of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan as a promising B schools under MACOUT. Our MBA program is affiliated to MACOUT and is approved by AICTE, Ministry of Education, Government of India, and Department of Higher Education under the Department of Technical Education in Government of West Bengal. The institute conducts full-time 2 years MBA program and 3 years BBA program on a regular basis. Qualitative research is one of the major type of research method present in social science. It forms the fundamentals of understanding a research query as a humanistic approach. It facilitates the researcher to deep contextual understanding of a social phenomenon by using non-numerical means. I would like to request participant, please mute yourself until and unless you have asked to something. It facilitates the researchers to deep contextual understanding of a social phenomenon by using non-numerical means. I feel privileged that today we have Professor Shoikat Mitro, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Maulana Abul Kalam Azad University of Technology. Professor Moitro is a renowned academician. He is a chartered engineer and fellow of the Institute of Engineers in India. He has filed 2 patents and authored of 3 books. Sir, welcome you to this program, and we are very much feel honored to have you with us. And we have our esteemed resource persons, Dr. Ajay Kumar Gupta. Dr. Gupta is a senior trainer of Atlas TI and associated with a business school affiliated to Mumbai University. He is a wholehearted researcher and academician with 27 years of rich, diverse experience. He has been a trainer of qualitative research in various institutes of repute, such as NITI Mumbai, National Law University of Delhi, National Institute for Research in Tuberculosis Chennai, IIM Shillong, Tata Institute of Social Science, Bank of Baroda, etc. Now, and also we have our principal, sir, Dr. Ramakanto Patro. He is the principal of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Institute of Management Science, Kolkata. Dr. Patro completed his graduation and post-graduation from Calcutta University and LLB professional also. 2 years full-time master's in management, PhD in human resource accounting from Bhopal University. He has more than 12 years of experience in different industries and 26 years in academics, including 14 years at National Institute of Technology, Bhopal. And Government of India's as the best work he received granting it for its publications. Now, I would like to ask our principal sir to say a few words for in this evening.
Thank you, Sriparna. Very good evening to one and all present over here. I may take the privilege to welcome our chief guest today, Professor Saikat Maitra, Honorable Vice Chancellor of MACAUT, who is the inspiration factor for all of us. He always inspires us, motivates us to undertake these sort of activities. Thank you very much, sir, for blessing this occasion. And I'm thankful to Dr. Ajay Kumar Gupta. Thank you very much, sir, to accept our invitation to be the resource person. And today we are organizing this workshop in a very important issue. As we all know, without research, no innovation, no creativity can sustain for a long run. And this qualitative research is a type of scientific research. And in general terms, scientific research consists of an investigation, and that seeks answers to a question very systematically and using the predefined set of procedures. So I am sure that the participants who have joined from different parts of the country, and they will get the details about the research. You may be in any profession, it may be academics, it may be any profession, but without research, you cannot update your knowledge, you cannot update your skill. That is why we thought that by organizing this sort of program, we will be in a position to give the inputs, the proper knowledge in these respective areas. So I am thankful to all the participants, all the resource persons, Honorable Vice Chancellor sir, for sparing their valuable time. And I came to know that participants are mostly from Pan India, and I am sure that the deliberation, that the inputs which are going to be given to you through these different modules, different tools, different techniques which are used for the research today, and that will be helpful to you to develop yourself, to update yourself, to improve your skill, improve your knowledge. So once again, I may take the privilege, I will not take more time because all are waiting to listen from the resource persons. So thank you once again, and I may take the privilege to welcome you all to this 5 days workshop on this research and qualitative research and fundamentals and applications. And I'm thankful that Sriparna has taken the initiative to organize this program. So thank you very much. Okay, once again, I thank you all for participating and gracing the inaugural ceremony. Thank you very much. Over to you, Sriparna.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Now, I would like to request our esteemed resource person, Dr. Ajay Kumar Gupta, to say a few words for all of us. We are already waiting to hear for our 5 days workshop. Sir, are you here?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you very much, our Vice Chancellor, Saikat Mehta sir, Dr. R.K. Patra sir, and Siparna Bhattacharya, and this institute for taking this initiative to encourage qualitative research among researchers and faculty. Because rightly mentioned Dr. Patra that in the social sciences there is a need for qualitative research. Unfortunately, in Indian organization, management institutions or academic institutions, I think the dearth of qualitative research, there is a lot of dearth of qualitative research. Most of the research are, number based, and that is why there is a lot of scope and space to position qualitative research and also complement and supplement with the quantitative research. So this is a wonderful initiatives, because I go to many other many institute, to teach qualitative research, and I find a lot of issues with the qualitative research. awareness about the qualitative research, utility about the qualitative research, methodology of the qualitative research. So all in all, only I can say that this is a wonderful initiative to conduct such kind of workshop. And I would request and also suggest that these kind of workshop, maybe any part of qualitative research you can take, like grounded theory, ethnography, phenomenology, or narrative analysis, you can conduct to enhance the knowledge on a continuous basis, so that student can have the holistic knowledge of the research rather than having only a one-sided of research, right? So I can only say from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much for organizers, institute, and all chief guests to organize such event for the benefit of researcher community and also for the faculty. So thank you very much. And rest of the discussion definitely will take, whenever we are going to discuss about the qualitative research and so many things about the qualitative research. Thank you very much.
Sure, sir. Thank you. Last but not the least, I would like to request Professor Shoikat Mitro, our honorable chief guest, honorable VC of our university, Macaut. Sir, please say a few words. We are already blessed that you are with us for this evening. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. The resource person today, Professor Ajay Gupta, Professor Dr. Patra, principal of this institute. Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan is one of the front runner management institute under the affiliations of our university. And I have seen that at many occasions they are organizing these programs for the benefit of the faculties, for the benefit of the students, and for the benefit of the community. This great, this endeavor as far as the knowledge dissemination is concerned. Now, management training and management education, these are undergoing a paradigm shift in the current context. You see, this there is the today's from today onward, this matter of discussion will be on qualitative research and all these things. And now this there is also this the methodology of researches and all these things. These are undergoing changes, and there are lots of these scopes and opportunities are this appearing as far as the research is concerned. Research is required to identify where we are making mistakes, where is a challenge is there, how we can identify the opportunities, and that can be done from the analysis of different cases in the form of case studies. How some organizations are failing, how some organizations are continuously improving over a period of time, how some organizations are transforming themselves from this ordinary to good and from good to great, and how of the late the strategy which is called blue ocean strategy that is being applied by many organizations to stay ahead of the competitors in terms of this uncontested in the domain of uncontested these areas and markets where they can strive this for a longer period of time. Now in India, what is this particular prospect of these types of management research is, because this is a big country, huge country with lots of diversity. This is there is diversity in culture, demography, or this economics and way of doing things in distributions of populations, in natural resources, and all these things. And you see the thorough study of identifying these many aspects, the many areas of Indian systems to evolve and to generate this hitherto unforeseen these scopes and opportunities which has not been identified by proper management research is now the call of the day. What is this we are following by and large the theories and hypotheses developed by most of these Western countries based on their case studies and all these things, which they may not be this applicable in many cases in Indian scenario, because our traditions, our culture, our the systems, our way of doing things, these are entirely different. And here, how to look into our entire this culture, our history, our present this present ways of doing many things. All these things that needs to that needs a proper delving into the depth, so that we can identify the reasons why we are lacking in where we are lagging behind in many cases, and where we can prosper ourselves. These countries, you see, there are very challenges, particularly as far as this uh, supply of food is concerned to millions Indian populations. Healthcare concerned to make it available and affordable to larger section of populations. Good sanitation, good quality of water, housing, infrastructure facility of the late, this digital, these facilities, provision of all these things, how all these things can be managed. So these are challenges. And there are lots of tools and techniques which can facilitate these types of research. Of course, this qualitative research will identify, many facets and many areas of in our systems to make it, this for, particularly formidable one as far as knowledge generation is concerned. But if we can augment it with latest tools and techniques, for example, and quantitative research has its own, this shortfall. Shortfalling means only, this mere presentation of data is not sufficient enough to understand the underlying meaning, or this the in-depth things which is there associated with all these facts and figures. We need to go for a detailed analysis and to present it with blending it with our wisdom, our observations, our perceptions of many subjects. Then it becomes this convincing. It becomes understandable to larger section of the population. For that purpose, this emergence of data science, machine learning, and handling of big data, these are facilitated. Many our this of many of our activities or endeavors in doing researches in many areas. Maybe this in these training programs, some way of how these tools and techniques can be applied for doing all these things that we discussed. But there are there's plenty of scopes. We can identify resources from our ancient scriptures, from our these all historic documents, from contemporary texts, from different reports, from different surveys, from different these academic contents which are available across the entire country at different ways, different formats. And if we can engage ourselves in doing all these research activities in near future, outcome of all these things will have the potential to transform these entire systems as far as the economic prosperity is concerned, as far as the employability is concerned, as far as this advancement of knowledge in management science is concerned. So I believe this training program, faculty development programs, with the carefully chosen one by Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, with the contributions of resource persons, Professor Gupta and others, it will be bringing all these facets, all these features, all these deep insights of our management studies and management education. From here, we'll get these clues and information for further upgradation of our existing things in a better manner for the future generation. And this will be of immense help for all the participants who are present over here. I'd like to congratulate Dr. Patra and his entire team for taking this endeavor. My sincerest thanks to all the resource persons who are present over here in the digital format for dissemination, for the sharing their knowledge and views and opinions and wisdom with all the participants who will be here. And if it is digitally captured, then it can be this further utilized for spreading it across the larger section of our learning community in management science. So with this, I'd like to conclude. Thank you, Dr. Patra, for inviting me and for indulging me in sharing my views and thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, thank you for sharing your views, your thoughts with us. will obviously enlighten all of us, and we will obviously work in future activities. Now, I would like to thanks again Professor Shoikat Moitra, who has joined with us from his busiest schedule to inspire us. Thanks to Dr. Gupta, who will be with us for next 5 days. We are really waiting to hear from him. Last but not the least, I would like to thank our principal sir, Dr. Patro, whose continuous support and encouragement had made this workshop a happen. Now, I would like to request everyone should stand up and play our national anthem.
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you, sir. Thank you for gracing this inaugural ceremony. Thank you very much, sir. So this is the end of the
Thank you
inaugural
very much.
program.
Thank you
Thank you,
very
sir.
much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Yes. Now, sir, we can start to the main program.
Yeah, you please start. You please start.
Okay, so thank you very much once again. And our Vice Chancellor, sir, who has left now, he has given a right image of research arena about qualitative research, quantitative research. Okay, so before starting this session, let me make some guidelines how to start this session. When I see a lot of participants, they are our colleague. So I'm not here to teach you, rather I'm going to learn more in the process than to teach you. Okay, so let us make this workshop in learning mode. And I also expect that there should not be any monologue. I should not only speak and people should only listen. Anytime I encourage them to raise any question, any time of the workshop, I appreciate and I most welcome people, those who are raising question. I may not have answer to all the question, but I would definitely try to answer, your question. Okay. And also share your experience about, qualitative research or research facet. Okay. Uh, uh, can I share my screen? Do I have right to share my screen?
Yes, sir. You have the right.
Okay. Okay. Wait.
You can.
Okay. Is it visible to all?
Yes, sir. It is visible.
What I'm going to share my experience about qualitative research is, in qualitative research, the most fundamental part is knowing about what is qualitative research, what is the basic assumption behind qualitative research, characteristics of qualitative research, what language researchers should use in qualitative research, what is the concept of field note and field diary. I'm sure that all these informations are already available on the Google, but in this workshop, we are making sure that you will really learn, whenever you are going to carry out any qualitative research, what is the rationale behind it and why do you want to carry out qualitative research. Now, meanwhile, I would also try to raise some question. Do you see this image? Now this is the image of research, and I'm sure that everybody is aware about uh, research has two types, qualitative and quantitative, and this is the connection between qualitative and quantitative research happens. Always the objective of qualitative research is on theory creation, whereas the objective of quantitative research is theory testing. And again, during this workshop, since this is qualitative research workshop, so many times uh, there will be a debate on the numbers and non-numbers, okay, and there is always debate on qualitative research and quantitative research. So I request and I suggest that both research actually complement each other, supplement each other. There is no question of superiority between qualitative and quantitative research. They go hand in hand. So that is why we are not going to undermine the quality of qualitative or quantitative research. We will, for the sake of discussion, sometimes we may discuss about the limitations of numbers, limitations of the feelings, right? So you should take in a right context. Okay. Now, always there is a concept of inductive and deductive approach. So always qualitative research always take the inductive approach, and quantitative research always take the deductive approach. And the simple meaning of inductive is you are not assuming anything. Whatever is emerging from the data, you are driven by the data itself. When we are talking about deductive and when you create hypothesis, you already assume that there are variables which is already there in the literature. So with this image, I'm just giving the overview of research, and after that I will discuss the basic fundamental about what is qualitative research, why do people encourage to conduct qualitative research, what is nature of qualitative research, and where is the scope and where is the space, and how do you justify to yourself and to the other people why you conduct qualitative research. Do you have any question on this image on this screen? Okay, fine. This is also you can just glance on this slide. So usually in qualitative research, always we talk about, the philosophy is always, phenomenology kind of things, where we actually study the events in their natural settings. So in qualitative research, researcher is the insider, and he or she tries to understand the entire cultural aspects and entire events, in the natural setting. Whereas in quantitative research, the researcher himself is detached from, the context. Okay. And when we talk about the emergent, what is emerging from the qualitative research, you know in qualitative research we try to immerse the theme. So whether you take any methods, whether you take grounded theory, phenomenology, case study research, or ethnography, always we derive the theme which is emerging from the data. And also the qualitative research is exploratory in nature. When we talk about quantitative research we generally use to explain either the existing theory or existing knowledge. Okay. So the difference between quality and quantity is, one is try to explore and understand, and once you understand what is emerging, then you can create your hypothesis, and then you can carry forward your research and start with the bigger sample size survey methods. And you can, once you explain, then you can generalize the whole concept, right? Now many times people based on their knowledge raise basic question about can you generalize the qualitative research, right? And I always answer to their question, the nature of qualitative research is not to generalize but to understand. So any qualitative research you cannot generalize, because you try to understand the phenomena, you try to explore the phenomena. So generalization is not the characteristics of the qualitative research, rather it is the characteristics of quantitative research, right? Now I would like to take you to some phases of quality. First I will try to give you some definitions by different researchers, and then I will take you to different phases of qualitative research. Okay. Not everything that can be counted counts, and not everything that counts can be counted. Right. And people generally ask question about when do you conduct qualitative research. So when you cannot understand the phenomena by numbers, qualitative research, or another word, when numbers are not enough to explain or to convince the concept under investigation, then definitely people try to go with the qualitative research. And there are many more justification to it. Just it is just one idea to understand. Now I will just run through, and you can just go through it, and whatever important point I will find out, I will definitely explain that. Okay. Okay, so already Strauss and Corbin, who actually created the grounded theory, they say that any kind of research findings which cannot be, uh, arrived using statistical method, or through quantification, qualitative research is, important there. And always, see these keywords: experience, belief, motivation, sentiment. All these are psychological factors. When you want to study all these keywords which are subjective in nature, definitely people try to take uh, qualitative route. Now these are just some ideas about qualitative and quantitative research. So it is clearly written that quantitative research always you can generalize, but qualitative research you cannot generalize. You try to understand the concept. Now, now I will take you to different, and these are the area where you can use qualitative research. Of course, you have rightly mentioned about the utility of qualitative research in social sciences, and these are sub part of social sciences like psychology, anthropology, communication, semiotics, sociology, economics. These are the field, and many more field where qualitative research people use. Now I will take you to different phases of qualitative research. You see, there are 5 moments of qualitative research which actually started. Even if you go in the history, you will find many more ideas about qualitative research, but mainly qualitative research started from 1900 till post World War II, right? So this was the actually traditional period, it is known, where the subject was not known, and all the it was actually the starting point of qualitative research, and it is known as traditional period. And then post World War II to 1970s came with the modernist phase. And in this phase, you must have heard the name of grounded theory by Glaser and Strauss. 1965, they started with the concept of grounded theory, and they started with the studying the dying patients in hospitals, and they try to understand their feelings, their emotions, how nurses actually help them, how they take care of them. So, and they started with a constant comparison method, and later on this constant comparison method converted into grounded theory, and the first grounded theory emerged in 1967. So the modernist phase is the phase of grounded theory, right? Then post 1970s to 1986, there is again a lot of computers came in between, right? So there was utility of computer assisted software like an Vibo and Atlas TI that we will discuss in our workshop. So during this phase, there was a application of machine in qualitative research. And again, 1980s to current day, there is a again different phase, you know. So these are the phases of qualitative research. Okay. And now fifth moment to current day, there are so many things. It is actually spreading its wings to many aspects. Okay. Qualitative research. Okay. Now, coming back to basic question about that I raised about why qualitative research and why do people encourage qualitative research. If anybody would like to answer in one line or two line, most welcome. Otherwise, I will definitely share my experience. What is the uh, key motivation and why people start with the qualitative research and why you should start with the qualitative research. Anybody would like to respond to this question? What motivates people to conduct qualitative research? Okay, fine.
Excuse me, sir.
Please go ahead.
So I can try that. So actually, when we try to conduct that qualitative research, it's directly linked with the reality of the one's feelings, right,
Okay.
sir?
Mm-hmm.
And something that should not be counted in the number.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good.
So okay, sir.
Very good. Anybody else? Well tried.
Yes, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Like we can say to explore something that is not already explored. Maybe some new variables. Maybe suppose I can say, being from the side of HR, if I can say like job satisfaction, we know there are many variables which contribute to job satisfaction. But going for qualitative research, maybe there are certain other variables who are not known till now that we can also explore. That is not possible through quantitative.
Very good. Very good. Anybody else?
Yeah, sir, it can actually answer the why question, the answer unanswered questions. Because when we ask why only, there will be more in-depth information we will be reaching to. So I think whenever we need some in-depth information on a particular subject, so qualitative research will be useful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very good. Absolutely. So, well tried and absolutely right answer. So, whenever we start with the NA research, we always try to go with the available literature, right? And we try to read the research paper, the articles, or whatever information is available in the secondary source of information. And whatever idea we are going to investigate, if we are not finding the right answer or the holistic answer, then definitely we try to explore and dig out more and more where is, where we try to find out the answer to our question. Okay. So you have rightly mentioned that when the variables are not available in the existing knowledge, existing concept, or with the available knowledge, you cannot find the answer to your question, then definitely people try to understand the phenomena. And in that case, qualitative research is only the way to find out what is emerging from the context, watching what is emerging from the topic. Now, with this, I would like to share my experience during my PhD period. I did my PhD from Tata Institute of Social Sciences in Management and Labor Studies, and the topic was it was about the studying of middle managers' morale in banking sector. When I read the literature on middle managers' morale or morale for the sake, I found lot of literature, which came after the post World War II, and the context was all military context. It was in European context, military context. When I dig more, then I found that the literature, it was for the nurses morale, it was for the teachers morale, it was about the coal mine workers morale. These were the context, and these and the setting were the Europe. When I came to India, because I thought that my studies in Indian context, whether all those research which are actually available in European settings and also in military context, can I directly use those variables or those study in my context? Then perhaps I thought, perhaps no, because the factor which influence the middle manager's morale or maybe motivation in military setup is different from the business setup. And that is why I found the gap. When I came to study the literature in Indian context, I found few literature but it was mainly about motivation, but I never found any literature on morale, and that too in business context. And that is where I found the gap to position myself to start with the qualitative research. And I conducted qualitative research of middle managers morale in two public sector bank, where I conducted audio recorded interview with the middle managers, CMDs, executive directors, and general managers. 23 responses I collected, which actually includes middle managers, union directors, CMDs, retired CMDs, and general managers. Okay, and then I transcribed each and every interview verbatim. Verbatim is the keyword in qualitative research, which says that whenever you collect any data, whether it is audio recorded data or video recorded data, you should transcribe word by word and pause by pause. That means you are going to exactly write the way your respondent has said his or her responses. Okay, and once I transcribed all the data, then I started with phenomenological approach, coding, making code grouping, writing memo from the field note. So why I shared this story, and what is the logic behind, if anybody is asking me why you conducted only qualitative research and quantitative research, then my answer is very simple. In the literature, I have seen a lot of literature on morale, which is in different settings, European settings, and different context, in military context, coal mine worker context, which is very, very different from the business context, specific to banking context. And that is what motivated me, and I found gap in literature, and that is why I conducted research in Indian context using qualitative research. And most of the research were already conducted in the quantitative methods. And through literature, it was written that any study on morale should explore and should use qualitative research methods. So whenever people are motivated to go with the qualitative research, if you are going to provide this kind of justification, I think people may not question why you have taken this approach of qualitative research. Okay, so whenever the information is not enough to find answer in your context, because the research is always context specific, and specific in qualitative research, always the researcher himself or herself is one of the respondent. So researcher is not detached from the study. He or she is known as one as an insider. So the opinion of researcher always counts. You cannot keep the opinion of researcher outside from the research finding. So whether you take any approach which is shown on the screen, whether you take grounded theory, ethnography, phenomenology, narrative inquiry, case study method, and apart from there is many more method like thematic network analysis, thematic methods, or discourse analysis, qualitative content analysis, any method you are going to take, your opinion does matter, especially when your data is field based. That means once you have collected data from the, then definitely you have your own experience, you have your own observation, and that is why each and every observation that you capture from the field, you should note down on the diary, whatever observation you have captured, starting from data collection to data completion, and entire process of noting down researcher experience is known as field note. uh, uh, I'm sure that most of you are aware about the concept of field note. Are you aware about the field note concept? Anyone? Have you heard this word before, field note? Am I audible to all?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay, okay. So have you heard the concept of field note?
Yes, sir, hard.
Okay, no issue. So the field note is all about, so now coming from the field note, I have one question. When you are going to field to collect qualitative data, what kind of data do you collect? And what are the two types of data you collect? Do you know that in qualitative research, especially when the research is field based, always the researcher collect two types of data? Can someone answer what is the two types of data researcher collect from the field? Let me make it very simple. For example, if some respondent has given you appointment to take audio recorded interview, and you reach at the right time, and you have collected data, maybe you have taken 30 minutes or 40 minutes or maybe 1 hour to take audio recorded interview. In the process of data collection, what types of data do you collect?
Sir, is it eticanemic?
Okay, that is a perspective, ethic perspective, and
Okay.
that is a perspective that I understand that point. So I'm asking what types of data do you collect? And I have
So,
already
so,
given. Yeah, please go ahead.
is that interview type?
Huh? Okay. Yeah, interview type. When you are going to take interview of any person and you have audio recorded the interview, in the entire process, what are the different data do you collect? Do you collect only textual data, or beyond textual data, do you also collect another data?
That is reality, real data.
Huh? Okay. Okay. Let
Visual data,
That's what my point is. Go ahead. Okay. Then observation, and then
observation.
what kind of observation? Can you give some idea about the observation?
Did the interviewer show up on time? The interviewee show up on time? Was there any resistance?
Very good.
The body language, just posters.
Very good. Very good. Very good. What else? What else? Absolutely, you are
So,
right. So what else? Yeah.
so in terms of observation, we can observe them,
Mm-hmm.
or we can be a part of their group and observe the process as they are feeling it and we are feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
Or we can ask them to observe and report, like they can have diaries or something like that. So
Okay.
there are
Yeah.
many ways to capture
Okay.
observation. Thank
Okay, okay, okay. Now, with this, I will share one incidence, um, uh, and I'm just giving this incidence to just think you about this process of data collection, and I would just like to know your opinion once I shared the experience. You know, one of the research institute in Chennai, I conducted one workshop, and the researcher, those who actually engaged into data collection, they were attending the workshop, and they were engaged into finding out the reason for main to main sexual disease, HIV, and tuberculosis. That means all the people those who are suffering from main to main sexual disease, HIV, and tuberculosis. And there was a research team who was working off site, and these researcher, they used to go in the field. They identify who are the people suffering. They used to go into the field, and they have set questionnaire. They used to ask question, and they used to take the responses. I ask simple question about their data collection process. I simply ask question, how do you collect data and analyze data? This was a simple question I asked. Then the researcher, those who were attending the workshop, they said that, sir, we go to the field with the diary, and we have set question, and we identify who are these people suffering, because we know who are these people, and we go to them. Listen carefully what I say. We locate them, and we ask them some question, and some of them are very shy in nature. Some of respondent hesitant to answer the question, but whatever answer they give, we try to write down on the research diary. uh, and some of them run away, and we come back, and we hand over all the document to one research team which is sitting on computer, and based on whatever we have written down, they try to analyze using so many tools. Now with this process, question to you, with this process, my question is, will you find the truth or reality why people are suffering from HIV or man-to-man sexual disease or tuberculosis. Will you really find the truth? Or the second question is, where is the lacuna? Where is the problem, or where is the gap in this entire process? Do you find any loophole in the process?
So maybe one is collecting the data and another one is preparing that transcription. So
Okay.
the observation maybe like maybe that when the maybe the person has not jot down all those things which the person has observed, and one thing is one perception is also being there that is being attached in for every researcher, like how to judge a particular situation, particular context. Maybe that is lacking while that is being translated by any other person or any other research team.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Any other opinion by any other participant? So absolutely correct answer. Because when I say that some people hesitant to speak anything, some people sigh, some people run away. So all the observation that you capture in your brain, it is remaining with the researcher, the person who is collecting the data. Now the person who is sitting at the back office, he doesn't know about anything about how the people are behaving, what is their emotional state, what is their sentiment, what is their psychological state. So the person who is using machine, or who is sitting at the back office, he relies more on textual words. Such a sensitive case, the real information is withheld by the respondent, because there is a lot of social taboo and social curse and so many things attached to it. So first of all, the problem is because the person who is engaged into data collection, he or she doesn't collect the observation part in the field note part, right? So he should actually capture all the observation, how they are behaving, why they are behaving, and those who are talkative or those who are coming forward to discuss, they should find out what kind of issues emerging and what kind of psychological feeling they have to run away from the field, or they are hiding some information. So the capturing of information from the field is absolutely important, because in textual data you may find only the 5% and 10% of the facts, but maybe the 90% or 75% or more than that, the most of the information is captured through your brain, through your senses, right? Now the second loophole is always in qualitative research, because the researcher is having experience in the field. So any person who doesn't have any experience from the field, many aspects he or she may not collect, because he or she will only rely on the textual information, which may not provide the holistic image of what is happening in the field, unless the information is complete and the person has given with the full confidence, right? So that is why any researcher who is going in the field, always keep your mind, brain, or senses open to capture non-verbal communication, body language, facial expression, the eye movement, you know and for this you don't need to be the expert in body language. You need to be little bit observant, the movement of the faces, movement of the eyes, how person is behaving, whether the person is uncomfortable answering your question, person is very confident in answering your question. So all the remarkable moment which are actually capturing your attention, all which make some note. Maybe during the data collection you cannot immediately make note of it, but of course you can make some kind of some kind of tick mark, or some remarks, and later on when your interview is over, then definitely you can sit down, you can recall all those things and you can note it down, whether the person was giving all the positive answer, but his body language was very different, because he was looking down, sideways, and he was uncomfortable in giving the answer, right? Does it make some sense to you?
One doubt.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So this is
Uh,
Sachin this side.
Absolutely. Please go ahead.
My question is, in quantitative research, many a times we have seen that respondents simply keep on ticking answers as 111, 222, or 333. If you are taking a Likert scale opinion type of question, the
Yeah.
same thing can also happen in even in qualitative research also. Somebody can bluff. Somebody can say something which is actually not true. If you are conducting a interview with a financial investor, he may have something different in his mind and he's answering something different. So how to check that aspect?
Absolutely,
That's,
very good. First of all,
thank you.
let me appreciate your question. Very good observation. Fact is that. So let me come back to fundamental. First of all, in quantitative research, the research is not context specific, and also the researcher is outside the context, right? Uh, so it doesn't mean what the person is answering your question, because as a researcher in quantitative research, you are more concerned about what answer the person is giving. In qualitative research, and you rightly mentioned that the person is saying something but hiding something, but how do you capture this moment? Now, in qualitative research, and most of the time it happens. Now, how findings in qualitative research is arrived? In any qualitative research, whether you take any approach that is visible on the screen, whether grounded theory, ethnography, phenomenology, narrative, or case study method, uh, any finding is based on the pattern. What pattern is emerging from the research? It is not about the frequency, it is not about the number of people, but it is about what kind of information is strongly emerging from the field. Okay. So, for example, if I have collected data from 23 people, and the diversification of these 23 people are, some are top management, some are middle managers, some are union director, some are general manager. Now, for example, if I take my case, I studied middle managers morale. So when I asked the same question about middle managers morale to middle managers, they had all authentic answer. They say that no, the motivation level, the morale level in banking sector is very low, critical. But when I asked the same question to CMDs sitting in their office in Bandra Kurla complex, they have all goody answer. They say that everything is fine, people are motivated, right? Now, I'm not going to question whether what he has said is right or wrong, but of course, during his answering, I can capture his body language, how he's responding. Of course, there is a lot of way to hide your emotions, but being researcher, whatever I can capture information by his body language, I can make it down on the field note. And whenever I'm going to analyze my data, so we analyze two types of data. One data, what the person has said, and other type of data which is most critical is what is my observation from the field. For example, which question he was uncomfortable, which question he is try to avoid the answer, which question he was very happy, right? So that is why in qualitative research, the researcher himself is one of the insider, and opinion of researcher does matter in the qualitative research. So that is why my previous question was, what type of data do you collect? One is textual data that you can store, that is already in the form of audio recorded data, video recorded data. The other data is captured through your brain, which is written down through the field note on the piece of paper. And from the field note, you try to write your observation while analyzing those textual information. For example, if I have asked the question about what is the middle manager's morale in banking sector, and the person is giving all goody answer, whereas as a researcher, I see lot of anxiety or frustration on his face. I can note it down on the piece of paper. If I ask the question about what is your opinion about whistleblower policy, and the person is giving a very short answer and showing a lot of distress on his face, then later on, once my interview is over, I can ask question, can you explain something more about on those concepts which he was uncomfortable. And whatever observation I get as a researcher, I will make note of it. And whenever I'm going to analyze by using computer or by using manual, then I'm always having with those piece of paper, and analyzing those textual data and aligning with, while answering this question, what was his emotion state, or how he was uncomfortable. So we also analyze our field note, and based on this textual information and captured information, what is emergent part is the theme out of qualitative research. So maybe you might ask question about the researcher might be biased. Of course, yes, but when I say pattern, even your biasness can be removed from the pattern, because this will not fit into the pattern. And whenever you are going to analyze any field based data in qualitative research, always we analyze two types of data. One is about the field note, other is about the textual information. Okay. Professor Sachin, did I answer to your question, or do you have any other thing to?
Yeah, yeah, I got it, sir. But then, if you are observing
Yeah.
that he's not very comfortable in answering your question,
Mhm.
and you have a doubt of his text, his words,
Mm.
then how can you rely on that particular data? Then there is a question of reliability, the way to be doing
Very good.
quantitative analysis. So where is the
Absolutely.
reliability issue?
Absolutely, very good question. The first, the reliability and reliability factor in qualitative research is actually through the sampling method and also the different data collection method. This is the way of ensuring reliability in qualitative research. So that is why in qualitative research, always it is suggested to use multiple method of data collection. For example, in-depth semi-structured interview is one method. Focused group discussion is another method. Observation is another method. Okay. Then again, you can take the opinionaire of the people. So there are multiple methods of data collection. So always to overcome the reliability question, always your method should be multiple. Secondly, we have purposeful sampling in qualitative research, which has specific purpose in mind. For example, as I mentioned about, my data collection was with the top management, different segment, union director, different segment, middle manager, different segment. So already I am going to take interview from the different respondent, because these respondent does matter in to study the middle manager's morale. So you do not take any other sampling method rather than the purposeful sampling. So that is why even the one person or one group of person is biased, are very, very good in nature. Other group of people are giving different answer. So the pattern will never emerge from the one opinion or two opinion. And in qualitative research, I always repeatedly say that we try to understand the phenomena, right? And based on what is emerging from the different segment, we try to find out, we try to understand what concept or what ideas or what theory is emerging, and based on that emerging, we try to go with the quantitative research with the larger sample size, and then we can generalize. In qualitative research, we try to only understand what is emerging from the concepts, right? So the question of reliability only is proven by different research methods and by using the different purposeful sampling. That means in purposeful sampling, you justify why you take the opinion of these group of people, and that is how you justify and you answer to question of reliability in qualitative research. Professor Sachin.
Right, sir. Right, sir. Thank you.
Okay. 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 So, always I say that whenever you are going with the field data, always be very, very serious about using your brain, your senses, your experience, starting from data collection to data completion. When I say this word, starting from data collection to data completion, it start with the moment you are going to write email to your respondent. Imagining that the person is connected to email and you want to seek the appointment of the person, starting from how the person is answering, whether person is answering or not, whenever after writing the mail, how many times do you call, how many times the person is answering, how many times the person has canceled the appointment, whether the person is eager to spare time for you. So every experience you should note down, and that is why it is not only capturing the interview and deciding your theme based on what the person has said. But in qualitative research specific to field data, most of the critical information and authentic information will emerge from the field note. Rather than what the person has said, unsaid part has more laden information. And most of the time people, try to avoid using the field note. I always suggest whenever we are going to collect data from the field note, always primary data from the field, always try to use field note, because whenever you are going to present your data or you are going to write research paper, always there will be question about what is your observation from the field and where have you analyzed your observation from the field. Because in qualitative research, researcher himself or herself is one of the respondent, and therefore the opinion of researcher does matter in qualitative research, unlike in quantitative research. Fine. Any questions so far? I yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, I have one question.
Please go
I'm
ahead.
Professor Nilanjana Sinha. Sir, during the interview process, one observation which I had is like whenever I'm questioning the interviewer, respondent, many a times their answers are very short to the point. Well, maybe the topic demands that they talk more or in details about it. So how can we probe the respondent in such cases?
Yeah, yeah. I think somebody's mic is on.
फैजबिया बोले होंगे उन लोग को, और क्या, और कौन बोलेगा? फैजबिया बोले होंगे या हलीम तख्ता इससे बात किया होगा.
Participants are please asked to mute yourself until and unless you are not asking any
वहाँ पे
questions.
B22 कहाँ है? तो रहीम कक्का इसको बोल दिया कि अनिल को कि हम लोग यहाँ शिफ्ट कर दे
Kamran
रहे हैं.
Ali,
रहीम कक्का साइड से बोल दिया होंगे
Kamran
अनिल
Ali,
को.
please mute yourself.
अनिल से बात किए होंगे कि हम लोग यहाँ शिफ्ट.
Okay. So the question was, when the person is hesitant to speak, or the person is giving only one line answer, or the person is not giving lengthy answer, what is the way out? See, of course, in qualitative research, there's a probing technique. So always, as a researcher, whenever the person is giving one line answer, you should be prepared to raise, polite question to the next leading question. Just like, you see in the newspaper, in the news anchor, they are asking the probing question. So as a researcher, you should have the probing question to the researcher to find out more and more information about the topic, first of all. The second idea is, whenever you are going to write down your question about, asking to your respondent, always good practice is not to make only one line question. Within one question, you also make sub question, because what happens, you are giving the broader scope for a respondent to respond. Maybe if you are asking in English and the person is not understanding your language, so maybe based on his understanding, he will answer. So first of all, the language of your question should be, in aligned with the understanding of the respondent. So do not, make very, very tough language which respondent cannot understand. For example, whenever I used to ask questions, so my question, first generic question was, sir, what is your opinion about what is your opinion about employees morale in banking sector? And what is your opinion about managers morale in this bank? So that means you are giving broader option to the respondent. If he's not comfortable with giving the entire scenario of the banking sector, he can, find out suitability in the second question. So always, whenever you reframe your question in qualitative research, always in one question, always also make sub question, because maybe if the person is not comfortable giving in the first question because of anything, he may switch over to second question, related question. So these are the ways to take more and more opinions. Second, whenever your interview is closed, for example, you have taken interview for 20 minutes, and after 20 minutes you say that my interview is closed. Now listen carefully. Most of the people, they just leave the place immediately. I always suggest, do not leave the place immediately. always try to engage into informal communication with the respondent. Always use the concept of appreciative inquiry. For example, you can say that, sir, it was wonderful, interview. You gave lot of insightful ideas, and I really like the way you responded to your question. Doesn't matter whether he responded or not, right? So you always try to engage and appreciate the person, and definitely, sir, I'm going to send the summary of this research. And then politely, slowly, you start asking those questions where he was uncomfortable, where he gave only one line answer, right? Psychologically, your respondent will be more open to answer, because he or she is aware that now your interview is closed. Now nothing is going in the record. But as a researcher, what is your duty? Your duty is to extract more and more information in all the possible way, right? So always extend informal interaction when your interview is over. That is the golden technique to extract more and more information. And all the things that you captured during the interview, always slightly, slowly, you keep on raising the question, sir, this question, can you express more opinion, and why you are uncomfortable in this question, right? So this is the psychological way of capturing more and more information. Does it make sense to you?
Yes, sir. Thank you so
Sir,
much.
can I ask you something? I'm audible.
Please go ahead. Biswarup, please go ahead.
How we can include this grounded theory concept into marketing, maybe in consumer research?
Biswarup,
Hello, am I audible, sir?
yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I was just asking how we can include this grounded theory in marketing research.
So I think there is no one line answer to this question. It again depends on what is your uh, what is the objective of your research, because marketing is a field.
Suppose new product development.
So the simple answer is you need to use the grounded theory approach. And in grounded theory approach, now I have to explain the grounded theory approach, how you collect data using grounded theory approach, right? So grounded theory approach is just like any other approach, where you go to field with set questionnaire, you take opinion of your respondent, right? In qualitative research, there is a concept called theoretical saturation. Have you heard this word before?
No, sir.
Okay. So there is a saturation of data, and the concept of saturation of data simply mean that uh, in qualitative research, people generally ask question about how many sample size you have taken. Fundamentally, this question is wrong. Why? Because researcher in qualitative research doesn't pre-decide how many responses he or she intend to take. It is decided based on the experience during the data collection. What does it mean? It simply means that when you are going in the field and collecting data, and as a researcher you feel that after collecting 20 interviews, I am getting repeated information, repeated ideas, right? Then that is the point you feel that no more information is emerging, then I should stop my data collection here. That point is known as theoretical saturation or saturation of data. And that is your field experience decide how many responses have you taken. Whether you take any approach, phenomenology, ethnography, narrative analysis, case study method, except grounded theory. Now, what happens in grounded theory? Because practically when you collect data, every time there will be some new information, right? So grounded theory approach says that as long as some minimal information are emerging, new information are emerging, you have to make questionnaire on those new information, and take the opinion from different respondent, as long as the information is repeated in nature. That means in grounded theory, it is the repetitive data collection exercise unlike any other approach. So as long as new ideas are coming or new concepts are coming, you keep on taking the opinion of different set of respondent. And that is why in grounded theory you take lot of, you consume lot of time, because you have different set of responses. So whenever if you're going to take whether in marketing or HR or anywhere, this is the process of grounded theory approach in any discipline. This is how the data collection take place in grounded theory. Okay. And in grounded theory, when the word is theory, many people talk about, do you really create new theory? The terminology talks theory, but this theory simply means that new concept. That means whenever we are going to take new grounded theory approach, we always create with the new concept which is not available in the previous literature. So new idea, new knowledge creation you create, right? So this is the whole concept of grounded theories. And grounded theory or any qualitative research method which is field based always take inductive approach without any preconceived opinion, just like in, hypothesis based, where variables are already known to you, so you already set the relationship between variables. But in qualitative research, variables are emerging from your study.
Exactly. Okay, okay, okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Thank you.
Biswarup?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Am I audible, sir?
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Any other question? I expect
Yes,
more
yes, sir.
questions from.
Yes, sir. There is another question, sir. Sachin this side once again.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Suppose the researcher wish to do a mixed method approach,
Absolutely.
and he is using already established theories like TAM, TPB, theory of reasoned actions, all those IS and IT models in his quantitative research. In order to further substantiate his variables, is it advisable to conduct qualitative research when
Yes.
your theory in quantitative is well established?
Okay, okay, okay. So again, this is this answer to this question will be decided by the available literature and what is your context of study. If already theory is available and the context where you are going to study, if the same context and you find the same variables, same parameters, then there is no need to go with the qualitative research. But as a researcher, based on your experience, your understanding, somewhere you feel that this theory is applicable to my context, but there is some way, there is some space, there is some scope where I need to understand. Then to understand those gap, you can conduct qualitative research along with the quantitative research. And in that case, you are going to create new body of language. You are going to strengthen the existing theory in your own context.
So you mean to say when you wish to extend the existing theory with a particular construct,
Absolutely.
then you need to conduct the qualitative research.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay. Okay.
Exactly,
Even
exactly.
if the theory is existing, you wish to add a new construct to it, then you go for qualitative.
Yeah, yeah. Sachin, I would like to, put forward my points here. These theories are again, they are also the context specific fact is that, yeah, right? If you see any theory, most of the theories are in the Western context, and we are blindly, submissive to those theory. If you see clearly any theory, whether the marketing theory or HR theory or any theories, most of the theories have been created in the different context, right? So always, when you try to understand the component or element of those theory in your context, always you will find some space to position yourself, right? So in positioning those space, definitely there is a scope for to understand more and more, and you can add more, just like I mentioned about, moral study, because it was in the European context, it was in the military context, in business context it was missing. So that doesn't mean that those studies are irrelevant to me. Of course they make sense to me in some aspects, but of course in my context those parameters are not, I'm not going to blindly use it unless we try to understand what factors affect the middle manager's morale in my context, right? So always you need to understand this, and see all these things, whether you take and everything is social sciences, and so when we're talking about social sciences, it is different from the pure sciences, right? And social sciences is a very, very dynamic in nature, and it depends on the your social construct. Your social construct is different than the European context. The European context construct is different from the Western context. So all which we need to understand if you are going to apply any theory, existing theory, what is the context of those theory? Whether this is really there is a mismatch of context, same setting, or the same context, and that is where you can find out your gap and your rationale behind conducting, whether you want to conduct qualitative research, quantitative research. Yes, Sachin?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sir, Gupta sir. So, me Padam Dangal.
Padam,
So
please.
one thing that so when we conduct that qualitative research, so can we determine firstly about the sample size or not?
No.
So, and one thing in that qualitative research, so the hypothesis will not also there, right?
No. Yes, correct. No hypothesis, because they have it has a research question. Why hypothesis is not there? Because you want to understand the phenomena. No variables are available because variables will emerge from your study, right? So instead of hypothesis in qualitative research, you have research question. And as I mentioned about the saturation, data saturation, that means the number of your sample will be decided depending on the kind of data emerging from the field. It is not pre-decided. Okay.
Okay, sir. So one thing that when we have to make that hypothesis, it means that first of all, the qualitative data will be there on the basis of that qualitative data or something, some findings we have got from that qualitative data. Then only we have to presume about that hypothesis, right, sir? So I mean that after
Yeah. So what
finding
is
out
emerging from?
after finding of that qualitative result, then again we have to search anything new on that part. We need to make some assumption or we need to make some hypothesis. So without qualitative data
Exactly.
or
Exactly.
okay, sir, thank you. So it makes me clearer now.
Yeah. So whenever you are going to start with the mixed methods, or if you want to generalize any concept, there is a guideline that you start to understand the concept with the qualitative research. When your theme is most, take those themes as a hypothesis and then conduct with the quantitative research, and in that case you generalize the concept, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good evening, Dr. Gupta. Can I have some questions? This is
Please
Indrajit
go ahead.
Sinha from Bharatiya Vidya. Now, in quantitative research, we have something called exploratory research and confirmatory research. In exploratory research, we do go by a set of questions, and then we carry out some kind of factor analysis and validity, and then we come to some of the variables that we found out, and then we research on that. So is this qualitative research can help in that area to find out what could be the factors in my quantitative research in area? Can you give some views on that?
Yeah. Yeah, so first of all, this qualitative research, and initially I mentioned that qualitative research always, mostly exploratory in nature itself. That means when the concept under investigation is either less known, completely not known, then researcher take the exploratory route and qualitative research. And as you rightly mentioned about the exploratory research in quantitative method, of course you can conduct, not necessarily you have to go with the qualitative research, but you have to provide the strong reason for going with the quantitative research. If literature says, as a researcher, based on your reading and understanding, if you can provide strong justification, absolutely you can go ahead with it. But in qualitative research, usually we try to explore the unexplored area on the specific context under investigation. So anything that you want to study and you find that there is somewhere I need to position myself, something is not known, then usually people tend to take the path of qualitative research. However, it is not only the path. If something is known and something is not known, then you can also conduct quantitative research to using exploratory research. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, like the one which you had in your research in finding the moral of the middle manager. Now, by asking some of the questions in exploratory research, we may be coming to some of the variables that may emerge through answering those questions. And then we could analyze that through our kind of principal component analysis or factor analysis. And then may we come out with some of the variables that we never thought of, but it came out through that with a quantitative research.
Yeah. Agree to you.
Okay. And this qualitative research in that case, can it complement that quantitative research in that scenario?
Absolutely. So initially I mentioned that because they both have their own merit and demerit, and both go hand in hand. So we cannot say that this is superior, this is inferior. No, it purely depends on the type of knowledge available, and based on the researcher perspective and what is required actually, right? So we need to respect both.
Yeah, in that scenario, if a researcher is conducting a quantitative research and having through an exploratory kind of this thing, can that be backed with the your what do you call qualitative research as well?
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Now
Okay.
in
Thank
my
you,
case,
doctor.
in my case, why I conducted only qualitative research, because it was recommended by the literature itself, and most of the literature which was actually available to study middle managers morale or morale for sake, it used only the statistical measures, and it was recommended through literature that any research on morale should take the qualitative research method, and that is why I inclined to take qualitative research method. So that is how, as a researcher, you need to justify why you took this route. You need to justify through literature, or maybe through your conviction and based on your convincing skill. Right?
No, in that case, you are suggesting any attitudinal studies, whether it's in marketing or HR, which relates with, like, no, in marketing, in consumer behavior, we should start with the qualitative research?
Not necessarily. It purely depends on what topic you are doing research and what kind of data is already available to you. So if any information that you are conducting and enough information is available, then why you will go with the qualitative research?
Okay.
So you need to find out, yeah, you need to find out where is the space where even available data is not responding to your curiosity, or you may not find the complete answer. Then perhaps it force you to go with the qualitative research.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Gupta.
Thank you very much.
So I have one question.
Please go ahead.
So like for any research paper, when we are writing any research paper, writing research gap or finding out research gap is very important. Like in case of qualitative research, how do we do that, or what is the importance of finding out research gaps in that?
So you just read your literature on the topic you are going to examine, and see that research methodology part, what methodology they have used, and whether those methodologies are enough to find out the concept and the context where you are going to position yourself, whether they are having same, or is there any similarity, or is there any gap. It purely depends on what is your intention to carry out research and what is available literature available. And so everything will come from the research methodological part and also the knowledge part, which knowledge you are looking for and whether those knowledge have been covered in the previous literature or not, or the methods that previous literature uses whether those methods are used enough, or is there any suggestions to use another method. So it will everything emerge from the literature itself. No, it is not what I feel and what I think. It purely depends on your reading and what is already available and what is not available in the literature, and that what actually decide whether you go with the quali, or how you position yourself as a gap in the literature.
Thank you.
Right, right. Because everything you need to justify, because it's not my opinion that I can write any statement that this is not available in the literature, because you have to justify who has said this, and how do you say these statements, right?
So when justification comes, in quantitative research, we say in our findings that this finding has been is supported by previous studies also. Do we have such option in qualitative research also, where we
Absolutely,
have
why not?
textual data?
Yeah, absolutely. See, only the approach is different. Otherwise, the process is, this is also scientific research, that is also scientific research. There also you collect data, here also you collect data. Only the routes are different, right? Otherwise, both are scientific research, right? So everywhere the process is same. Only the analysis is different in quantitative research, in qualitative research. Data collection process is different. Otherwise, you follow the same route.
Thank you.
How long we are going to continue, Sriparna? Any other question?
Sir, I think we are at the almost end of the session, almost.
Okay. Now what I'm going to do, because at last AI session is, I think, Tuesday onwards, no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Ha.
It's from
So
3rd June.
what I will do now, I will send you one link of Atlas AI, which is trial version, and every participant can download and keep on their desktop or computer, right? And whenever I'm going to conduct analysis using Atlas AI, simultaneously they can open their laptop and they can work together and they can learn by themselves. That will be better idea. Okay. So in today's session, I have just given the overview of qualitative research, and maybe day after tomorrow when we are meeting, definitely all these 5 approaches, even though I have discussed some part of grounded theory, but we are going to discuss all the concept of research design. How do we make questionnaire, how do we link research question to research objective, how do we approach the respondent, what is the way to write mail to them, what is the way of capturing the field based interview, and along with this grounded theory, ethnography, phenomenology, narratives. Along with this, if time permits, we can discuss 5 or 6 more qualitative methods, right, which are stand alone. Meanwhile, if you have any question, definitely you can send me, and I will try to answer to those questions. Okay. So again, I open this forum for more questions if you have any.
Participants, if you have to ask question right now, you can either write down the chat box or just unmute yourself and ask your question.
So, any particular books to follow if we are practicing qualitative research, like from where we can get it?
Yeah, please go ahead.
So, like any particular book, if you can suggest us to follow any particular book or any type of sites or any like which can help us to go ahead with qualitative research.
See, there are a lot of books available in qualitative research, qualitative data analysis. If you want, I can, for your benefit, I can send you the e-copy of qualitative research book. I have
Sir,
many
thank you, sir.
e-version of copy.
Yes, sir.
But
Please, sir.
but there is a book by Creswell and there is a book by Ellen Bryan, which are most referred book in qualitative research. Okay. I can send you. I can send you. You can refer to those books. send it to everybody. Okay.
Excuse me,
Thank you,
sir.
sir. Sure.
Dr. Gupta, sir. So I have one question that recently, a couple of months ago, I have published two article in that international level, that is based on that quantitative, and I
Yeah.
just want to publish my article also in that international level based on that qualitative, in the scenario of banking sectors, right? So I just want to get suggestion from you that, so what types of topics should be I have to include for that qualitative research on based on for banking sectors. So suggestion about, so what types of topic it will be suitable for banking sectors to do the qualitative research.
I think Dr. Gupta has been sorry, sir. Okay.
Sorry, is there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir
Yeah,
is here.
it was.
Yes.
Okay.
So can you repeat your question again, please?
So I just want to do research on the banking sectors
Mhm.
in Nepal, and it should be qualitative basis, not in that quantitative. But the quantitative I know how to do, and I have recently two published in that international level, and one article. So on the basis based on that qualitative, you have taught a lot of insightful views, right? So what is the good topic for that banking sectors for qualitative research?
Still the topic I studied, the morale,
Yeah.
employees morale. And you know, in banking sector there's a different hierarchy: line managers, middle managers, senior manager, and top management. So you can select any of the layer, and you can study the morale of whether top management morale, middle managers morale, senior manager morale, right? And or you can do also the comparative study between these two layers, senior manager morale or top, because this is the one factor in especially public sector bank. The fact is that the most and most important factor is the morale. So most of the people working in the banking are very, very reserved in nature, very, very shy. They are not going to provide you any data. It will, you will face a lot of problem in collecting the data. So that is the great challenge you have to face.
Yes, sir. But the banking sectors, they do not want to provide the actual fact data related to banking sectors. So in this case, what about our result from that qualitative data? That is the main questions for us. So doing just article, writing the article is not a big thing, but the real data what we have seen from the market, that we must have to find out from our research. So if they have give that false information about the bank, and if there is something wrong, and they make right for the data, so is it good for our research?
The better way is to collaborate research with the banking people. Those who are on the top, maybe the general manager, maybe the HR manager on the top. You just explain your research and say that you will be one of the co-author, and you just make me, connect with a lot of people. I will take opinion of these people, and your name will be there. So in that way, if you can collaborate with the banking people, especially on the top, then it will be easy for you to access the data in the banking sector. Otherwise, being outsider, I can say from my experience, it will be most difficult one.
So actually, it's very difficult task, because when I asked to somebody else or top level management, they just have to transfer to SR manager. And when I went to that SR manager, and again, he just transferred to the MR market. So it's very so the
That is
qualitative research is when sir have gave me very meaningful, insightful related to qualitative research. But in our that scenario is very difficult. We just have to real output from that research. Anyway, we just to try. And the one thing is that, can we have to conduct that only questionnaire from that qualitative researcher? if you can distribute.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. There are different methods. No, sir, there are different ways. You can send the questionnaire. You can have telephonic interview. You can have observation. You can have focus group discussion. Right? You can have audio recorded data, video recorded. There are many ways to collect the data. Right?
What is very difficult, they haven't given time because the reality will be come out in the market, so they just have to transfer day and just transfer from one person to another. So anyway, so we have to try, just told us we have anyway, the researchers make motivated to them, so that, and in this way it will be better for us.
There is one word called rigor. You must have heard the word rigor. Rigor in
Rigorous.
rigor. So rigor word is only used for qualitative research, not quantitative research. So qualitative research is more rigorous in nature, right?
Rigor, yes, sir. Yeah. Sometimes it takes around that 8 months to 1 year to complete the research. Still, I'm just on pending on that research,
Sir,
so
I have a
I
question.
have to complete.
Yeah, please.
Sir, I have a question. Sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Padam.
Please go ahead.
Sir, you have told that the grounded theory or any kind of theory can be implemented in market research. Sir, can you tell me what kind of difference is there in the coding in quantitative and qualitative? In short, is there any coding difference like what you used to do in quantitative?
Yeah. So there are two approaches. I mentioned that, no, deductive coding and inductive coding, right? So whenever you are using deductive coding, it is always driven by the existing knowledge, existing theory. So all the variables that you are going to code, you are looking for this specific concept, right, from the data, just like in quantitative content analysis, right? But when you are going with the grounded theory, your brain is totally open. You do not have any preconceived coding pattern. Whatever is emerging from the data, you pick up and make as a code, and that is called as inductive coding. So anything, whether you are tracking grounded theory, phenomenology, ethnographic case study method, which is field-based data, and if you want to explore, then definitely you need to use the inductive method of coding, which means your data coding is coming from the data itself. It is not preconceived from existing knowledge. That is what the difference is.
That means, sir, in the sentimental analysis of future data, we follow the same pattern. What you are saying right now.
No, but see, whether it is sentiment analysis or any analysis, you need to understand, no, what you want to explore. Your objective will decide, no. Your objective will decide whether you are driven by the theory or you are in process of generating new knowledge, and that is how the coding pattern will be decided.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, sir, we'll learn in the next class.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. I think now participants have no questions. And yes, the first session was quite interesting, and participants have interactive and we have understood the difference between qualitative and quantitative research, and how do you participate in the qualitative research. The first decision was that. And we are meeting on our next session on the Monday at sharp 6 p.m. As I mentioned in the email, that the session will open in the 5:45 and participants will join, starts from the 5:45. Okay. And so Monday we have our next sessions.
You don't have session tomorrow on Sunday?
No,
you don't have session on Sunday?
No, we have session. No.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay.
Actually, it is mentioned the dates in the. Okay, so thank you, sir.
Thank you very much from my side, and thank you for asking very, very insightful question. And I expect similar question and even tougher question, because this is how we try to understand from each other, learn from each other. I learn a lot of things from raising question from the participants. So I encourage and I appreciate the question during the workshop. Okay, any question that you have in your mind, ask, because I will also learn, I will also share my experience. Okay, so I really learned a lot, and I really am happy about the today's workshop and the quality of question you raised. So from my side, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Gupta,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you very much.